Welcome back to another episode of the Canon on the Boomer Bust channel. I'm your host Terry, and today we got a couple news items to talk about that are pretty interesting. First off, we got more DC. Whenever you got James Gunn involved online, you're gonna have more DC news. But to be honest, he's having meetings right now again. They're a little under 2 months on the job, so they're getting things together. So we already know the conversation happened with Henry Cavill. They let him know what's happening. The conversation happened with Ben Affleck about directing. And apparently, next up was Dwayne The Rock Johnson. So The Rock posted a message on his social media and he made it official. He said he met with James Gunn. Black Adam 2 is, not going to go forward in development, not part of their plans. Now, here's what's interesting. So he didn't say not part. Actually, I'm misquoting. So I should just backtrack what I said. What he said, he didn't say Black Adam is not a part of their plans or their vision. He said that Black Adam 2 is not part of their first chapter of storytelling. And then he said, but we are excited about potential to collaborate with Black Adam once they get into their DC multiverse storytelling chapter. And that is huge news. I don't see many people talking about it. Obviously, everybody's making fun of The Rock, saying that the hierarchy of powers changed, just not the way he wanted and all that stuff. But people aren't really talking about, I think, what's most important. And so, to quote directly, he said DC and $7 agreed to continue exploring the most valuable ways Black Adam can be utilized in future DC multiverse chapters. So realize he said chapters. Nobody that has talked about DC from the outside has really given much information about what the plans are. All they've really said is, we're not part of it. So we're getting a little bit of preview though with The Rock because he's using more info than we've seen before. Now I'm sure as a good relationship, he might have had them proofread his statement, but he doesn't really need to. He can say what he wants. So, but either way, it doesn't matter. So you can see he used specifically chapters. So instead of phases, that might be how Gunn and Safran are going to lay it out. Either way, when he says the first chapter, so again, the movie's not part of the first chapter. Then he doesn't say we might potentially, explore it in the second chapter, third chapter. He said in the multiverse chapter. So this says a lot because I talked about before all this started happening that the clear obvious choice is to reboot. I mean, if you are given this opportunity, the biggest of your career, and you're creating your own universe, why would you want to piggyback on somebody else's? You want to do your own thing. But I said they could go for a little bit more degree of difficulty and use Flashpoint to set up a situation where the universe is restarted or we're going into a different universe. That leaves the door open for cameos and other stuff with the previous actors. Now, and I don't know. I don't know how this went. But I feel like since we didn't hear that from Cavill, especially, that I was thinking that's not what they're going to do. They're just going to go with a clean reboot. But who's to say? They might have offered that to Cavill and he wasn't interested. Maybe he said, I want to be the main Superman or not. I don't know. But I felt there was easily a way where you could have your new universe and then bring these people back for cameos or a supporting role for a movie. And they could be talking about a different Black Adam, But I don't know that The Rock really has that much love for the character, where it's like he's just trying to get Black Adam going, even if he's not the one playing it. And then even if it was a new Black Adam, why would it be in the multiverse chapter? So I think specifically The Rock saying the multiverse chapter and talking about a future is because it would be him playing Black Adam. And so again, we're going to find out to some extent what these projects and what the layout is going to be. But this gives us a lot of insight to what we haven't seen before or heard about before. And a lot of people aren't really picking up on it, but I think this is really a huge hint to what they're planning on doing. All right, so then the next thing would be Donald Glover. There was a report, I think it was Hollywood Reporter, that Donald Glover is going to produce and star in one of the Sony Spider-Verse movies, not the like animated, but one of their Spider-Man universe movies, and he's going to be doing the Hypno Hustler. Now, that's not a character that I ever heard of. Apparently, they debuted in the 70s and only was in 14 issues. So, not a super popular character. Again, product of the 70s, very disco, very goofy. And a lot of things are goofy in the comics. But a lot of people have been kind of laughing at this, and I just don't understand why. Do we not understand who Donald Glover is? Childish Gambino. I mean, just him as a musician alone makes you think, okay, wow, this is an interesting character. This is a villain who uses his instruments to hypnotize the crowd and rob them and stuff. And so I'm just like, you got a musically inclined character. Donald Glover specifically said that he was excited about this character specifically because it's not popular and people don't know it, so he can be really wild with interpretation and adaptation. And so a lot of people are just laughing like this is going to be so stupid, and I'm like, this isn't, I don't know, this ain't a Saturday Night Live sketch, this not anything, this ain't a homemade movie where they're just going to try to be exact accurate to the comics. Clearly it's going to be well adapted. I mean, and so a lot of people, laughing again, and I'm just like, how do people not see how great this could be? Because as I said, just him as a musician alone makes this interesting. But if you watch Atlanta, you a fan of Atlanta, you know his creative juices are up there. That man is one of the top creative minds in his team. His brother writes a lot, and Hero directs and writes a lot on his friends. And their creative juices is up there in Hollywood. And Donald has made it a point in a lot of his stuff to tackle the black culture. And so, again, I don't know what he's planning on doing. This is just my idea. I'm completely picturing it as like a drama because the villain is obviously not going to be fighting Spider-Man. So if it's a movie about him, you probably are going to get more of that anti-hero, like here's a look at why type villain movie. And so I could easily see this playing out like a movie where this is a dad, a single parent, or not a single parent, but a dad that is an ex-felon and is kind of struggling to, to keep getting by because he can't really get work like that. But he's also trying to further his music career, and like all his friends and family, the ones that he got, they're discouraging him like, you need to, find a way to rebuild your life and stop chasing this music. But that's what he does. And he has like limited visitation with his kid, and he's just really trying to be the best he can. And I think you could set it up where just, push comes to shove, the needle or the straw that broke the camel's back, and he decides, or I'm sure, you're right, he has access to or finds out a way where he could use his music to hypnotize people and what it can do. And then he uses that to start trying to make extra money and try to make ends meet. And then maybe crosses the wrong person, gets in too deep, and then, So I could easily see it as like, I don't even know what you call it, because I mean, if you watch Atlanta, it can be deadly serious, scary, and still funny at the same time. So I really feel like they could pull that off, where it is a movie where he can be charming. Obviously, he can give you the music, and then they also are telling a very real story, touching on real themes. It also could be set in the 70s. I don't know. I don't think it would be, just because if it's in the universe, I think they're going to keep it to the normal timeline. But Donald Glover could go weird too. So I really don't know what exactly he's going to do. But for the people that are saying, like, they're skeptical, that's okay. But for people that are laughing and saying this is so dumb, I can't agree with you on that. So but yeah, that's my feelings. I really am excited for that project. All right, so that's it for me. Go down comment section, let me know what you think, share it around, get the conversation started, thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you for listening.